Okay, we're going to call to order the August 19th Harahan Council meeting. Madam Clerk, pledge please.
Councilman Asbill?
Present.
Councilman Buddy?
Present.
Councilman Chatelain?
Present.
Councilman Johnston?
Present.
Councilman Wheeler?
Present.
Mayor Baudier?
Present.
Police Chief Walker?
Here.
Fire Chief St. Cyr is absent. And Finance Director Todd Tunion?
Present.
City Attorney Scott Stansberry?
Present.
And Municipal Clerk Nicole Lee is present.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda, please.
Okay, so I've had a motion on the floor by Councilman Wheeler to amend the agenda.
So under special presentation, I would like to add number 1, Dr. Gray, the Jefferson Parish School Board Superintendent, excuse me. Oh, you're bringing him up?
Yes.
Oh. Oh, okay.
Okay, so we'll leave it, we'll just leave it as Chief Walker.
Okay.
And then we'll make an addendum to add B, Dr. Gray, and School Board Superintendent and School Board Representative Billy North.
Okay.
Okay?
And then also under new business, number 1, Brandy Smith would post a wait in Netterville. I'd like to move her up under special presentations, number 2 then.
Okay. We have a motion by Councilman Asbill to move up Postal Wait in Netterville under special presentations to item number 2.
Second.
All in favor?
Yay.
All right.
So we'll have Dr. Gray, number 1, Brandy Smith would post a wait in Netterville, number 2.
I got a few things after Dr. Ray, but yes.
Okay, so Chief, are you going to do yours at 3, or are you going to do yours with him at
Whatever
1?
way would you want.
Okay. And then, Mayor, I know you're doing a presentation. We can put you after everybody else
Right.
after special presentations.
All right, and I'll go in at 4.
Okay.
All right?
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna go in at,
Well, 1 might be
Yeah.
combined with 2.
yeah,
so-
1 will be like an A, B, and C. Chief
Yeah.
Walker, Dr. Gray, then Billy North.
Yeah,
A, B, C.
yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, we got this.
Yeah. Good evening, Mayor, Council, viewing public. Tim Walker, Harahan Police Chief. Recently, I had the opportunity to meet with Dr. Gray, who is our superintendent of Jefferson Parish Schools, and Billy North, our district representative for the school board. And we had a very lovely conversation. Dr. Gray has a lot of new programs that he wants to talk about for the Jefferson Parish school system. We're all on board that education is the key to success. So without any further ado, Dr. Gray and Billy North, our school board representative.
Thank you. Chief, Mr. Mayor, Council, thank y'all for the opportunity to come and speak to all of you today. This has definitely been a wild ride since I've been appointed superintendent last year in June. In the middle of a pandemic has created some challenges that I don't think anybody could foresee in terms of educating our kids. One of the things that I do know that because we work together as a group, we were able to open up schools safely last year, keep schools open, offer in-person learning for people who wanted in-person learning, and I think relatively speaking, we had great success. So we know that scores were released recently in relationships to schools across the state, and for us being the largest system in the state of Louisiana with such a very diverse population, if you look at where we scored in terms of our K-8 instruction, we're pretty much equal to on par to even some of the school systems in the state that are higher performing in traditional years. So I think that we've done a really, really great job of educating our kids, making sure that we kept the community engaged in the processes that we wanted to do. We actually put a very large effort in making sure that we get our industry-based certifications for our kids to whereas they are working on being ready for careers after school, but also trying to make sure that we get our college track still going as well. What we want to do is make sure that we took the opportunities that we had from our COVID first year and make sure we learn from our lessons and then try to figure out what we need to do differently for this current year. So you're going to have 3 documents in front of you. The first one is 2024. This is our strategic plan that was developed when Dr. Brumley was here. We as a team came together and tried to figure out what is it that we needed to do in order to meet the needs of our kids, have a strategic plan that was going to have all the core tenets of educating in a large school system in order to make the district move forward. But an additional takeaway from this was to develop a strategic plan so strong that is something that can be applicable to any large district across the country. And so we want to make sure that our framework was so solid, no matter what the context, we'll be able to apply this strategic plan and still show success. So there are metrics associated with in 2024 that we are put in prior to COVID. COVID came, it really pretty much took all those metrics and we have to set our baseline, so to speak. But all the other pieces that are associated in this plan, we still try to hold true in moving forward last year. So the fact that we were able to hold true to our strategic plan put us in a position to whereas we can hold the ship steady during one of the most tumultuous times in our history and have this be a springboard moving forward. So you have another document in front of you, and I'm not going to go through all of this because I know my time is limited, but we want you to take the opportunity to look through all of this. And in this document, because our metrics that we had in place, most of them were not measured because of COVID, we want to be able to show the public that we were being good stewards of money, for one, but also that we're still providing a quality education to our kids. And so if you look through this document, we want to do two things. One, making it easy read, so you see a lot of the graphics in there to whereas people can easily understand it, whether you're highly educated or you're a child that's looking through the information. And we highlighted all the things that we were able to accomplish during the pandemic. And so what we want to do is show that we're still moving the needle. It may have looked a little bit different last year, but we're still moving the needle forward. The third document that you have is our 2021 new initiatives. And in this document, we're leveraging several pieces that we think will put us in a good position in order to use the funding that we're getting from the federal government, plus the funds that we already have in our system, to figure out what do we need to do differently to meet the needs of our students and our teachers and the community as a whole. So we all know that COVID put us in a position where we're going to have some levels of learning loss. So we want to make sure, like, how do we capture that information that we gained from last year, set it up to where we can build off this upcoming school year. So we initiated a program that we call Summer Bridge, which was our summer program. So we traditionally had summer schools, but it was not built the way we had this set up. And so although we had the core instructional pieces like we traditionally have, we also added some more cultural and fun aspects that will address the kids' social and emotional needs throughout the year. And so we had STEM programs, we had art, we had dance, we had the opportunity for them to engage in music. And so because those kids saw it as a holistic program, and it lasted from 7:30 to 2:30, we went from having where we would traditionally have 1,600 kids in our summer program to where we had 4,000 kids in our summer program. And so although we had all those initiatives going on, we still want to measure where they were when they walked in and then measure where they were when they left. What we want to do is to see how much of an impact our program had and then use that to leverage how we move forward this year. So we're going to have another initiative we're going to have is our literacy initiative, where we're going to have literacy coaches in classrooms. We're going to have a training for leaders and their teams to make sure that we're able to monitor and support teachers while implementing those literacy programs. We also have our Jefferson Virtual High School, which we're using to be able to meet the needs of kids who are in certain circumstances where they were able to excel in the virtual program last year, show that they can handle that, but also have some unique circumstances for us to meet their needs. We are starting off a little small with 9 through 12, and then we'll try to figure out how we branch out later on in the future, depending upon the success of where we are right now. And the other piece is going to be our Jumpstart program, which I hit on earlier, where we have increased the number of not only basic industry-based service certifications, but advanced certifications for our students. And that's so they can leave from high school and walk into high-wage, high-demand jobs. And so ESSER funds are allowing us to use that funding source to be able to build out these pieces in order to meet the needs for our kids. So I can talk about this for forever. I'm going to shut up right now and turn the floor over to one of our board members. And I have to say this before I step away. Our teachers have been phenomenal through this. Like, we've asked a lot of them, and they stepped up and delivered the entire time. Our administrators, our support staff all did the same. And our board was right there with them. There's no way we would have been able to keep school open the way we have last year and to start this year without the support of all those different pieces. So with that said, I turn over to Mr. Billy Norton.
How many schools do you have in the system?
We have 80 schools total in our system. We have roughly around 50,000 kids.
And one of the things that you're telling me when we met, how many different languages
we're at around 49 different languages spoken in our schools. Our major languages are Arabic, Vietnamese, Spanish, and English. So when we do documentation, they go out in those 4 major languages, but because of we have such a diverse population, we have over 48, 49 different languages spoken in our schools. Yeah. Mr. North?
I just want to tell you, this gentleman right here is in charge of, you stole my thunder, Chief, 72 schools, 50,000 students, about 7,500 employees, and 9 honorary school board members, you know, and he does a great job, along with a $600 million budget probably. And there is not a man that I would want in that position besides James Gray. He's the right man for the job at the right time. He's a hard worker. He's a blue-collar guy. All right, he's not a politician. He's not a pretty guy who's looking for another job. He's not. He promised me that he wanted to stay here and finish up here, and I'm very proud of that fact. He's taken a lot on. You know, we have a councilman whose 2 children go to 2 different schools, right? Academy, and one here in Metairie, and then one across the river. We have kids going all over the place. We have buses going all over the place. Our vendor, 3 days before school started, told us they couldn't handle all the routes, so they showed us about 30 routes. But his staff pulled it together. There is not one thing that I've asked him to do for Harahan Elementary that he's told me no. And I know in the future he's going to tell me yes, especially after talking to you guys. All right, because I got a couple of things on the table. So once again, thank you so much. We're I'm blessed and honored to be able to work with him, and our community is very blessed to have him too. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank both of y'all.
Thank you. Remind everybody, school is back in session. We have 3 schools in the city: Harahan Elementary on Jefferson Highway, St. Rita on Jefferson Highway, and Faith Lutheran on Colonial. So school zones are in effect, and the children are back in school. So I talked last month about Night Out Against Crime. With what's going on currently, Night Out Against Crime and the Harahan Police Christmas Parade, everything's on hold, waiting to see what happens with this pandemic. And one last thing, I wish my daughter happy birthday today. I hate to say old, she made 50, but I don't know where time went, but happy birthday, Carolyn.
Y'all, we are so honored to have Dr. Gray here in Harahan. I got to spend a few days with him on a Jefferson Parish Chamber trip, going to Tennessee to go see how other communities do it, successful communities. And what a learning experience, what an honor just to be in his presence and get a understanding of the school system and how it works. My children went to public school, and I was the liaison for Harahan Elementary, so I got a fairly good understanding, and I understand a lot of the challenges that he has, and it was just so wonderful to understand and listen to his aspects of life, because it's kind of like we're all facing the same challenges right now, and to see someone to take a different perspective and have the ability to learn from Dr. Gray, and you are welcome here in this city anytime. It is an honor to have the both of you here, and but to have our school superintendent here is incredible. And so thank you so much, and thank you for everything that you do for our children in our public schools. You too, Billy North, y'all, he's incredible. We've had some issues early on with Harahan Elementary. I reached out to him. He was Johnny on the spot to get right back to me and had every single answer that I could have ever needed to reach out to the citizens and communicate with. So thank you guys so much. You know, it starts with our children, and so many in public school, you know, and that's how we make a better Louisiana. Thank you, guys.
I'd like to add just a comment that I'm looking at page 16 of the 5-year plan, and I know that's going to get pushed out, but they've set some remarkably high metrics to measure themselves by. If Jefferson Parish schools produce anywhere near their plan, it would be almost a miracle, and it would benefit Jefferson Parish and the state of Louisiana tremendously. So I'm impressed to see somebody set that high of a bar in order to be measured against. And in 2024, if it pushes a year because of COVID, 2020, 2025, if they hit these metrics, we're going to be a much better community as a result of it. So I thank them for setting their goals so high.
Mr. Mayor, I need to make a motion to amend the agenda. to add ABO approval for Wet Bar and Grill to new business number 6.
All right, so have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to add, what is the name, one,
Wet Bar and Grill.
Wet Bar and Grill,
WET, I'm not sure. To be honest.
ABO license under special presentation number 6, second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yeah,
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Agenda is amended. Okay, now we want to go to special presentations number 2, Madam Clerk. Will be Post Await Nettleville. I'm sorry.
All right.
I didn't know. Look, it got all crazy there for a second.
Good evening. My name is Brandy Smith. I'm an audit partner with Post Await in Netterville, and I'm here to report on the results of your 2020 financial statement audit. So first thing I want to point out is the audit was submitted in time to the Legislative Auditor's Office by the June 30th deadline. So all governments have a 6-month deadline to issue their reports to the state of Louisiana. And a lot of governments, due to COVID, were not able to issue their reports in time, both for the 19 audit and for the 20 audit, and you were able to meet the deadline for both years. So that's commendable, and we appreciate the help from management and from your staff in being able to provide the information to us to be able to complete the audits on time. So I'll just go over high level on the reports that we issued. And again, the first one is the financial statement audit report. And our opinion on the financial statements was a clean or unmodified opinion, which is what you would expect. The financial statements are materially correct. We were able to get comfortable with the amounts that were reported within the audit. The financial statements are prepared by management. So the only, there's a big report that you all received. The only part that comes from us is the audit opinion. The rest of it comes from management, comes from finance. And we test to make sure that that information is correct within the report. A couple of numbers to highlight. At the end of 2020, the fund balance in the general fund was $639,000, which was an increase of about $400,000 from the end of 2019. So you had a very positive year regarding fund balance in the general fund. In your overall governmental funds, you ended up at $1.8 million. So in the prior year, at the end of 19, your fund balance was about $1.4 million. So overall, you had an increase in fund balance of about $400,000 for the city overall. For the sewer fund balance increased by about $60,000, so a minimal increase. You had overall an operating loss of about $300,000, but that was offset by property tax income of $365,000. So usually you have an operating loss, but that's made up with your property tax revenues that are recorded in the sewer fund. And then within the report, after you get through the numbers, there are footnote disclosures. So if you wanted to read through, get more information about accounting policies, it's good to read through just to get more information about some of the numbers that are being reported. In addition to the financial statement audit, because you received at least $750,000 of federal funds, in 2020 we also had to do a single audit, which is a federal compliance audit. So in the last few years, your federal funds were less than $750, so we didn't have to do this federal compliance audit. But because of the coronavirus relief funds that you got in 2020, we had to do a compliance audit of those funds. And in our testing, we did not have any exceptions to report in our compliance testing or in our internal control testing over those federal funds. In addition to the federal audit, we also issue a separate report on internal controls related to the financial statement audit. We did not have any significant deficiencies or material weaknesses to report. We did have one compliance finding, which was the Budget Act finding. Your budgeted expenditures for the general fund were less than total actual expenditures. So when your total actual expenditures exceed the budgeted expenditures by more than 5%, we have a compliance finding that we're required to report because it's a violation of the Louisiana Budget Act. So that is it as far as findings. We had one additional management letter comment. So something it wasn't a compliance finding. It's not anything we consider to be a material finding, but it was a recommendation that at least annually there should be a review of your IT systems to see who has access to the different systems, just to make sure that individuals who have access should have access, the certain level of access, and should they have access to certain systems. So we recommend that a formal policy be put in place where that is reviewed at least annually. So that is all that we had to report, again, high level. Do any of you have any questions about the audit? All right, well, thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Working with the Post Await Nettleville staff was just incredible. I mean, they're so good to this city. They're very easy to work with, and they really help us, and they put us in the right direction, and they give us all the proper guidance to where we, truly need to be. And it is, and we're really lucky to have them. And we're so thankful to be able to work with them. And, this is always an education process. We're always trying to learn. Me and his council, we're working, we're going in a different direction. We're trying to, make Harahan a better place. And Post Await helps us keep grounded, helps us stay on the right path and the right direction. And so we're very thankful to have him. So thank you, guys. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Brandy, so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, my turn?
Your turn.
Jason. Okay, so we're going to do our monthly slideshow, and we're going to try to give you guys some ideas of kind of what we've really been doing this month. And we're going to concentrate a lot on infrastructure just because infrastructure is just a buzzword of today. And so this is some challenges and some opportunities to become better. And what happened was we had Louisiana Rural Watershed, Louisiana Rural Water Association come in, and they started doing some smoke testing throughout the city to try to find out where we're having breaks in the sewer line. Sewer infiltration is one of the worst things for our sewer plant and our system. It overruns the system, or putting dirt in a system is really, it doesn't really help us at all. So these guys got to come in and work. That's actually Dino Bonanno's aide, Dwayne Munch, with his brand new baby out there doing some discovery with us on the street this morning. And but these guys at Louisiana Rural Water were incredible. The knowledge that they gave us and taught us what was going on in the city was just, it's just another learning experience for us and myself, and to try to make a better Harahan. We will have full reports and full visuals. They've cataloged every single thing. And in the next coming council meeting in the next few weeks, the council will actually be putting an ordinance in place to strengthen up our ordinance, because if there is a deficiency on your property, you will have to correct that, and you'll have to do it pretty fast, because it's only hurting us all if you don't. And we need to be able to make the city better and to make our sewer infrastructure better. And this was a great tool that we got. This would cost thousands of dollars. And we ended up getting it for $300. We got a grant to help us with this. But this is some of the things we do here as an administration. We get out and we hustle and we try to find ways. So now we actually went in Baton Rouge in the last session. We were able to get $50,000 to do some manhole rehabilitation, and that's what a new rehab manhole looks like. When we asked for the funds, we were budgeting 10, and by the time we got the money and we were able to start the program, we sat with the rehabilitation group that we were working with, and we asked them, hey, is there any way you can sharpen your pencil? Is there any way maybe we can get a few more manholes out of it? And then, come to find out, just for asking and working and being nice and building bridges with the group, now we're able to get 16 to 18 manholes for that same $50,000. And that's incredible because, again, we're trying to stop infiltration into the system. The sewer system should be taking in sewer, not sand, not water, not, any other byproducts that come off the street from drainage. This is something really cool that we're doing. We actually want to get out and we want to highlight our businesses. Cialino's, one of Jefferson Parish's leading vaccine providers. It provides vaccines for the merchant marines. It vaccinated over 1,500 people. These guys were incredible. We wanted to put the spotlight back on them, and start really showcasing what Harahan has to offer, because, I believe we have a lot of incredible things to offer in this city. Smoked, recognized as one of Louisiana's top barbecues. Caters to New Orleans Saints, provides post-game meals for the Pelicans, and is working with the NOLA Gold at the stadium. Colonial Lanes, home of the nationally ranked two-lane women's team, host of the Fall Classic, the Southland Tournament of the NCAA Regionals, home of Brother Martin, who has 5 state titles. We have a councilman that has a son on that bowling team, which is pretty incredible. We'll be a part of the JP Oyster Trail program. So what happens is, since they serve oysters, we'll have a brand new oyster sitting outside, to put the spotlight on them and make our city a little bit more interesting. And a major supporter of just pretty much anything Harahan. And this is what we call celebrating our success. So just so you guys know, in the past 4 months, we've had record-breaking sales tax. So we had the highest July ever this month, And when other communities are not doing so well, we're really exceeding because, you know, we're staying here, we're living here, we're playing here, we're eating here, and we're really, you know, patronizing our own restaurants, and they're in return are figuring out ways to stay open and get creative for us. You know, as we watch COVID start to come into the spotlight again, which is, you know, not the greatest of things, because it's not you know, not really something I like to talk about, but at some point, we're going to really start to look at the data. We actually started last week with the parish, and last Tuesday, they actually had more deaths in Jefferson Parish in one day than they've had since January, and it's something that we need to start paying attention to. And, you know, unless we're forced to mandate, I'm not really here to push a mandate. However, I think that we should get vaccinated. I think we should wear our mask whenever possible and always try to be responsible and smart. But just an FYI, next meeting may be virtual, depending on what the caseload looks like. And but again, we're going to prepare for the worst and hope for the best. So thank you. Okay, Madam Clerk.
Approval of minutes. Reading of the minutes of the council meeting on July 15th.
Okay, do I have a
Move to dispense
motion?
with the
I
reading.
have a motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Asbill to dispense with the reading of the minutes. We'd now like to open for public hearing. Anyone want to come speak? All right, no one coming forward to speak. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Dispensing with the reading of the minutes. Madam Clerk?
Approval of the minutes of the council meeting on July 15th.
Okay, do I have a motion on the floor to approve those minutes? Motion by Councilman Chatelain, second by Councilman Buddy. Open for public hearing. Anyone want to come speak on those minutes? Or approval of those minutes? No one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas,
Abstain.
0 nays.
Abstain.
Those minutes are approved. Oh, I'm sorry. 4 yeas, 1 abstention, 0 nays. Sorry, Madam Clerk.
All right.
Okay, Madam Clerk, communications?
No communications and resolutions. Proposed resolution number 2021-8. The following resolution was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Harahan authorizing the mayor to enter into a construction agreement by and between JW Colonial Group, LLC, and the City of Harahan.
Okay, anyone want to come forth and speak on proposed resolution 2021-8 that was deferred on 7/15/21? Please come to the podium. All right, no one coming forth. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion?
You should all have both a red line and a clean copy that both Mr. Stufford and Mr. Best worked through since the last meeting. And both legal counsels are happy with the amendments that have been made. Now, City Attorney, do we have to go through these amendments individually? Okay, so you have those amendments, and I think there were some concerns came from Mr. Buddy, and those were met, I believe.
They were. I'm just looking at the final documents, and I'm noticing there's a couple of pages missing. I don't think it's a problem, but we're going to have to find them and attach them tonight. The construction agreement needs the Exhibit A, which we had previously. It's a one-page estimate from the owner's engineers that estimates the cost of the work at $90,000.
Is that in the original packet?
I think it was.
Okay.
I mean, I've seen it previously.
So I'll move to adopt the amendments as presented in Globo with the inclusion of the original Exhibit A.
So I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to adopt amendments to proposed ordinance 2021-8. Do I have a second? I have a second by Councilman Wheeler. Anyone coming to speak forth on those amendments?
Okay.
We're going to read through them? Okay. We'll now read through those amendments.
Somebody else want to do this? I'll do it. No, it doesn't have a line number. Whereas paragraph 4, nah. Whereas paragraph 4, after section 86-56, add the words and 86-57. Same whereas paragraph, the last sentence, eliminate the word a, add an S to months, and eliminate the word period. Whereas paragraph number 5, eliminate the words installed so no maintenance bond is necessary or required, and substitute the words maintained after final plat approval and there's construction and installation. Under scope of work, line 6, after scope of work, include attached as Exhibit A. In section 4, at the end of the paragraph, add the words, and estimated cost of field inspections, period. Alternatively, comma, owner may post cash security in a form mutually acceptable to the parties. And no further amendments. Move to accept.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to accept the amendments of proposed ordinance 2021-8. Do I have a second? I'm sorry. Yep. I was going to bring up the public hearing.
I have just a general comment, and it's of interest and maybe
Okay.
significance. One of the things that came out of the recent discussions on this was the owner intends to maintain ownership of the utilities that are the subject of this agreement. That was never really clear before, so Harahan will not be burdened with the maintenance of it going forward.
Awesome.
And in doing so, we waived the requirement in our ordinance that they post a maintenance bond, because that would just ensure the city that the work was done right, and it would be in good shape for some period of time.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler. We'll now open for public hearing. Anyone want to come speak forth on the amendments of proposed resolution 2021-8? No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
Move to adopt as amended.
Move to, all right, so that's the amendments. Now we have a motion by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Wheeler to adopt proposed ordinance 2021-8 as amended. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. Resolution is adopted.
All right. Proposed resolution number 2021-9. The following resolution was proposed by Councilman Chatelain. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Harahan authorizing the mayor to enter into an escrow agreement by and between the City of Harahan, JW Colonial Group, LLC, and Dwyer, Cambrian, Suffren, APLC.
Okay, before I open public hearing, are we going to amend this one?
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to have, before we open a public hearing, we're going to make the amendments and then open a public hearing. Is that okay? All right. So we're going to have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Chatelain to amend proposed ordinance number 2021-9. And Councilman Asbill will read through those amendments.
So same situation, there were some concerns from last month's meeting. The attorneys got together, both the attorneys agree. City attorney agrees with the current documents, and so I'll just go through those amendments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whereas paragraph 7, this is the escrow agreement. Whereas paragraph 7, remove the word shall and substitute it with the word may, and remove the words be permitted to. On page 3, section 9C, remove in the second sentence, it shall not be required to defend any legal proceedings that may be instituted against it in respect of the subject matter of these instructions and,
That's the third sentence.
sorry, third sentence. Thank you.
Yep.
Further remove in the same sentence the words any, or excuse me, such, and replace it with any. And after defense, add the words of its good faith actions. Paragraph 12, section 12, subsection C, add the words after fully, or be fully protected, and,
You missed B.
You missed
You missed B. That's okay.
B, Bravo.
Yeah, B.
did I say B? Oh, pardon me, 12B. After the words be fully protected, add the words and without any liability whatsoever. 12C, in the first sentence, eliminate the words other than to faithfully follow the instructions contained herein. In the second sentence, after the words shall be fully protected, add the words and without any liability whatsoever. Further on in the next sentence, after the words these instructions and owner shall, add the words fully and completely defend and then in the next sentence, change the word it to city. Section 13, add the word defend after indemnify. Completely eliminate section 14 and renumber section 15.
And there are two other things that.
And renumber all sections thereafter, pardon.
Councilman Asbill, you may want to amend, because what we're adding to this document, not previously present to the council, is a signature page for the escrow agent and also Exhibit A.
So I move to adopt those amendments in globo with the additional escrow agent signature page and Exhibit A.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion on the floor, second by Councilman Buddy, to adopt the amendments. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak for. The public hearing is now closed. All in favor on the amendments?
Yay.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays on
Move
the
to adopt
amendments.
as amended.
Now we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to adopt proposed resolution number 2021-9 as amended. Second by? Second by Councilman Wheeler. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. It is adopted. Thank you, guys.
Ordinances for approval. Proposed ordinance number 2021-15. The following ordinance was proposed by Councilman Johnston and seconded by Councilman Chatelain. An ordinance to designate no parking zone and add no parking signage to south side of Marshall Drive.
Okay, we're now open for public hearing.
Afternoon.
Good
I'm
afternoon.
John Chapman. I live at 8020 Marshall Drive. I'm the one that asked Mr. Johnson for this, due to the fact that the street is 11 inches narrower because of the curb structure, in which the curbs are there to trail the water to the drains. And they do a great job, because Wainwright and Halsey, the drainage is very poor. Halsey has minimal drainage. You'll see a lot of ponding on the streets, and Wainwright, it comes from the east to our drains, which is fine, but it has to have that rail to run across to get to the drains. Because other than that, the street was designed, it should have a crown. Any street should have a crown in it. It's like a Daytona racetrack. The north side has a pitch, which it really shouldn't be pitched north to south. It should be pitched south to north, because the river is higher than the lake. But that's not, I'm not an engineer. But, you know, that's the reason for the signs, because the street is narrow, and that would eliminate any problems. We can't get cars through. Emergency vehicles would even have a harder time, because it's not that wide. But it's been like that for 25 years, and we haven't had any problems. Now, the street hasn't been repaired, and it hasn't been resurfaced in probably over 25 years, because they did Halsey and Wainwright probably about 15 years ago. But ours has some holes which City of Harahan patches weekly, monthly, but it's kind of a off-road in some spots. And that's about where it is.
Thank
So whatever y'all can help me with, that would be great.
Thank you.
It would help the whole neighborhood.
Thank you, Mr. Chapman.
I just have a question for you, if you don't mind. As far as your neighbors are concerned, for or against, what do you feel? Because I'm hearing that a lot of them really aren't for it. That's what I'm hearing. Do you know?
I don't know which one's not for it.
Okay.
Because the neighbor across the street, he takes care of the drainage on the north side. I take care of the drainage on the south side, because I have one at the end, the servitude, and one 3/4 of the way down my property, like he does.
Right.
And we maintain those. As far as someone who would have a problem with it,
Right.
I do not know.
Yeah. I heard that when they had construction going on, they had an issue, but I heard that once construction is over with, they're not really having a parking issue anymore.
Well, construction tore up curbs that I repaired, because City Highway repaired, tore up the channels, because they had people that just didn't give a crap.
Right.
Well, we had a house torn down on Marshall, had it rebuilt, and the curbs were fine. But when they started extra work on the new facility on Marshall, then their laborers, which didn't give a rat's butt, destroyed a lot of the curbs.
Okay. Yeah, I was just curious. Like I said, I mean, I understand where you come from as far as it narrowing it down because you're putting the curbs there and it takes away from and people don't want to jump the curb, so they're parking next to the curb and it's causing
Well,
flow situations. But I just want to know if it
Well,
was still a flow situation with the construction being done around there.
It's not as much so, but we still have people that go way too fast around that cul-de-sac. And if you're dodging cars one way, it's tough if you don't see what's coming the other way.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, no one else coming forward. We'll now close public hearing. Council discussion. Oh, I'm sorry. We got some. Okay, I'm sorry. Nope. Public hearing's still open.
Hello, my name is Donna Durr, and I've been a citizen of Harahan for many, many years. I grew up there. I served on the board at St. Rita's. I coached at Harahan the whole time my son grew up. And, I just wanted, I'm just upset because, the fire department is big for this city. And it just seems like they keep getting pushed back. And I just felt like I wanted to talk and make sure y'all have them high on y'all's list. I'm sorry. You know, 3 years we had that town meeting, and I really thought the citizens were really gonna back them, and they didn't. It was very upsetting. These guys work hard, and they do everything that's asked. And they're, it affects everybody. I just want y'all to help fight for them, And I thought it was gonna be on the agenda. I thought there was a proposal that was coming. And then something happened and it's off the agenda. And that's what I'm saying. It just seems like they keep getting pushed. And I wanted to know why. I mean, at that meeting 3 years ago, there were people that said they were new to Harahan. And from where they came from, they were appalled of how the police and the fire department weren't at these higher standards. Y'all were all at that meeting. I know y'all heard the same thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I just want to know why.
What was pushed? I'm not familiar with what was pushed.
Well,
What proposal was pushed?
well, no, I think they were trying to get the guys hadn't had raises, I mean, except just recent,
Right.
for over 15 years. The millage keeps getting pushed down. There's got to be something that they could put through. They're paid, they don't even have a tier in their payment. They haven't gotten a cost of living. They've taken pay cuts for the past 15 years. Medicine, medical bills. Y'all taking more from their checks, but they're not getting compensated. They're out there every day with those calls. They're short, they constantly working. I just want,
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and say it. You're upset. Now's not the time. This isn't public to
I
address this.
understand
And you didn't know. I understand, but the mayor obviously wants to let you
No, I'm
speak
just
your
letting you
mind.
go,
And
'cause-
I'm gonna let you speak your mind too, and I'm fine with it. We support the fire department.
Yeah.
We can't control what happened in the past when they didn't get this. I mean, we just got $350,000 to help improve the fire station. We're here to support the firemen.
I mean,
And-
that's their tools that they need to do their job.
Right, right.
I'm
I understand.
agreeing. But in the same note, when health insurance goes up, our health insurance goes up too on our personal aspect too. So So it's not just the firemen that are feeling it,
Well-
it's every industry out there that
Oh,
feels
and
it.
I agree.
You know, so
I agree, but if you don't even get the cost of living raise, how do you survive?
So who set the structure for that cost of living raise for the fire department?
There is none.
There is none.
That needs to be done.
So
Is what I'm asking.
When did they get
well,
this-
I mean, that's not me. but
they just got a raise recently, and I know it was very small. I'm not saying it was.
I agree. I know.
That's this administration that
I
put that
know,
raise in
I
place.
know,
So we're
I know.
taking baby steps. We just don't have, I mean, we're working this whole city on right at a $6 million budget.
I know.
And you know, and these firemen know we're going to do what we can for them, you know. And it's tough, and I believe a lot of the citizens, they all sit there and say they want the best, they want the best. But when you put that
well,
millage
they
up,
deserve
and
the
when
best.
they got to be willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
You want the best, you need to pay for it.
Well,
In Harahan, we were one of the best cities in the world, if you ask me. I mean, I can live anywhere I want. I chose to live here.
right.
The reason is I feel safe. I know we call 911, the police department's there, the fire department's there. If I'm in a bind, I could call any of my neighbors and say, guys, I need help. They're coming to help me.
Yeah.
That's why we live here.
Right.
The problem is the citizens don't want to pay. They want more and they expect the best.
Okay, but
And the
how do-
citizens don't want to pay for it.
That's, I don't know. Well,
So
Yeah,
I'll
I've got
just
a- oh.
I'll just build on something a little different from Councilman Chatelain. You know, all the administration that came in and got them a raise. You know, that was my campaign promise. And in my first month in office, we got them that raise. We funded the rest of the fire truck, so there's no more loan on the fire truck. We went to Baton Rouge and we worked real hard with the legislature every single Tuesday and almost every Wednesday for 3 months straight. We got them money to fix the roof. The fire chief and I have a dream and a vision. And you made a point about tools, you know, and we try to make
Right.
sure you guys got the right tools. And to me, and I mean, forgive me for saying this, but having the right tools for them to survive on is just as good as not just as good as a pay raise, but it's got to be there. You know, we don't want none of our firemen getting hurt. And so we try to balance it out. It's not easy sometimes, but
Right.
I got to tell you, I don't know, and not to demean any other administration, but I don't know of an administration that is so pro-fire like we are. I honestly think fire is
To add to
oh, I
that,
agree. I
number
mean,
one
because,
for
you know,
us.
that
How do we get the
because they
citizens on
pushed
board?
it 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we needed.
I mean,
we
we've-
needed
we've-
that push, but it
we
was
funded a
really-
$650,000 fire truck purchase, which is being constructed.
Right.
There's $350,000 going to improve the water tightness, mold remediation, and other structure of the fire department, of the building, which is not only a tool, it's where these firemen live.
Right.
Yeah.
When they're working on their 24-hour shifts. And this is where they live, and it was really substandard. So
And that's not a bonus. That's what they deserve.
correct. None of this
That's
is a
where they
bonus,
live.
but we probably spent another $150,000 on equipment, and there was I think it was a 10% raise. So in 2 years, a little over 2 years, we've managed to commit well over $1,300,000 to the fire department. And I know that doesn't get pay where it needs to be, but it's a huge commitment. We are concerned, we want to do what we can, and we're doing a lot.
I
And we'd like to
appreciate
do
it.
more.
I appreciate it.
But we do appreciate our firemen, that we have a fantastic department, responsive, they're very responsive, they are very professional, and we're doing what we can. And we're gonna continue to do what we can.
I was going to address this in the report section, but since Ms. Donna's up here talking about it, what Ms. Donna's referring to is we've come up with a creative solution. 3 years ago, the citizens asked us, hey, go find another way besides a millage. So we've come up with a creative solution between the fire chief and I, we think, to help institute a pay raise scale so that, and bring our fire department to where it should be and what they deserve. And that was supposed to be on the agenda tonight. Unfortunately, there was some issues with the attorney, the attorney's office that was putting that together, and there was a deadline missed, and so we missed the deadline for the November election. That said, you'll see a resolution in your packet next month to start getting it ready for the March election to offer the citizens the chance to properly fund the fire department through a half-cent sales tax. That would bring in approximately $450,000 a year additional. to go into the fire department's salary. It would be dedicated to the fire department's salary. And, and so that's just another way we're trying to help the citizens. And that's something that a citizen can control. You know, if they don't want to pay the tax, they don't have to pay the tax. It depends on their shopping, right? So all of our, and it also spreads it a little bit. All of those visitors that are coming to Harahan, they're going to be paying that additional sales tax. Now, who's going to realize there's an additional sales tax? I don't know. It's a half cent for every dollar you spend. So to give them a penny, you got to spend $2. So I think that's something that this community can get behind and work towards, and they'll get a chance to do that and show that they want to pay the fire department like they deserve to be paid in March. So,
Councilman Asbill, is there a plan on how to utilize the money, or we're going to just?
Yes, sir.
Mr. I want to commend you on your passion and coming up here to speak for us, because this is how we make Harahan better. You know, this is how we turn the ship and how we start to move in the right direction. I'm very passionate like you are, and I believe when we can get some passion and some drive and put it together, start educating our citizens, that's how we do it. So thank you so much. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Otto.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll get back on this ordinance now. So now we'll close public hearing. Council discussion on proposed ordinance 2021-15, parking on Marshall Drive.
So I rode Marshall Drive a couple times. I rode it in the rain, rode it when it was dry, spoke to a few neighbors. I just can't see me supporting this ordinance. I believe when they have construction going on, you do have a lot of cars parking in the neighborhoods, but you got to remember your house was built also. When they built your house, they had cars parking through the neighborhoods also. I'm going to vote against this ordinance. If they want to come back later on and overlook it again, I mean, the houses are just finished. I'm open to look at it again. I don't feel these no parking signs are going to solve the drainage issue or any other safety issues in the neighborhood.
All right.
Chief,
Go ahead.
Chief, have you ever received any calls for service back there about parking, crowded parking, anything like that you recall? That's been it's not been a major issue that you would know about? Okay.
Yeah, like I said, Mr. John asked me to bring it up, and I understand where he's coming from, but after speaking with other council members and after speaking with the neighbors around there, it just doesn't seem like it's a necessary, or I'm not saying necessary, it's not really a wanted issue. I think maybe one or two people, you and the gentleman that you spoke of, I think that out of the whole neighborhood right back there, I think y'all are the only ones that truly want it. And I think with the construction going on, where it's out, I think it might relieve some of that congestion that y'all were worried about and y'all had.
Once upon a time, we did have concrete curbs,
Right.
but I won't mention names, but because I've been there 66 years.
If you want to come speak real quick, that's fine.
They took the concrete curbs out when they put the asphalt,
Right.
which every other street in Harahan has concrete curbs, or they don't have any curbs. But we complained, not just myself, but myself and a handful of neighbors complained to the city council, and they put the asphalt curbs. Both brothers came and used one of those little presser machines to put the curbs in, because that way they had the drainage. We have no drainage problem. The drainage problem's on Wainwright and Halsey. There's no drainage problem on Marshall. And in fact, the new house that you discussed, the water, instead of going on that side of the street, since he don't have a curb, he trails down to our side, which is fine. But it just doesn't run normal, you know, because we get the water from Wainwright. Across the street, they get the water from Halsey, which works about fine. But his water will not trail because he doesn't have a curb. It'll run downward and come to the south drain, which is no big deal.
Right.
But that's how it works.
Right. And I understand
it's
your
not magic.
Right. I understand your unique, your street's unique with that it has the curbs. Everywhere else around here doesn't have curbs, so it's easy for people to pull off the street easier. They have to jump a curb down your street. I understand that.
Well, we have a storm drain
Right.
that the grate is broken right now. And I talked to the lady, she was supposed to report it, that they parked on the storm drain and cracked the edge and split the other edge of the storm drain.
Right.
Because they just don't care, you know? And one other thing, this is not with that street, but it's around the corner. We have a China ball tree that's hit by lightning 2 years ago. It's gonna fall on electric wires one of these days, or fall on one of their houses, not mine, because I don't live on Wainwright.
So, you know the location?
345 Wainwright. It's on Harahan's property. It's dead as a doornail, and it will fall one of these days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And like I said, I brought this up because Mr. John had asked me to bring it up, but like I said, just after talking with other people, I don't think I'm going to be voting for it myself.
But I mean, that's our job. I mean, if somebody has an idea, you bring it to us, we're going to bring it up.
Correct. I'm going to bring it up because you asked me to, but like I said, after talking with the neighborhood and talking with the, different people, it just doesn't seem like it's a big issue as far as the neighborhood back there.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
Okay, all in favor? All opposed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know, hold on. You a yay?
No, it was a
We all
nay.
opposed.
Okay.
It was the way you posed the question.
0
Threw me.
yeas,
Yeah,
0
I'm
yeas,
sorry.
5 nays. Ordinance does not carry. Madam Clerk, ordinance for introduction?
There are no ordinances for introduction, no old business, and we're going to start with news business number 2. We already did 1. Todd Tooney on Finance Director, monthly financials with budget to actual comparisons.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Just a few brief comments for the financial statement update through July 31st. The finance team has closed out the city's books as of July 31st, provided the reports to you for review. Just a few brief comments on some of the revenue line items. Property tax revenue is right in line with budget amounts through July 31st. Most of the property tax revenue is collected at the beginning of the year. So that's easier for us to project in the budget process, and those amounts are right in line with budget through July 31st. The mayor mentioned the increase in sales tax revenue during the month of July and year to date, so we continue to see that, and we're uncertain what the next 5 months will be, but hopefully if that trend continues, we'll be significantly over budget on some of the sales tax line items. I know when we budgeted many of the revenue items in the initial budget, October, November, December last year, we were fairly conservative with some of the revenue estimates, just with the uncertainty about future operations, COVID impact, things like that. So certainly there still is uncertainty, but at least we have the first 7 months of known activity. Video poker revenue is also over budget. The video poker revenue funds the capital projects out of the capital project fund primarily. And again, that's been significantly over budget, and we budgeted it conservatively. So we should see some extra funds in the capital project fund. On the expense line items, I won't go into detail, but we certainly have some line items that are over budget, some are under budget. We are working on projections through the end of this year in anticipation of a budget hearing perhaps next month. So we're working on the projections through the end of the year and may reach out to some of the department heads and work with the mayor for input and feedback on estimations for cost through the end of the year. A few brief comments on some of the other funds. The capital project fund, as we mentioned just a few minutes ago, funded the purchase of the fire truck earlier this year and still has a healthy fund balance within the capital project fund. And as a reminder, we've mentioned previously that the outstanding bonds that the city has mature in the 2023 year. So the last payment is June 2023, which is covered by the reserve fund. So the June 2021 payment was already made, so we've made that. So as of today, we have 2 more payments, and the June 2022 payment is really the last payment that the general fund needs to fund, if that makes sense. I went in a circular way to
It's confusing.
explain
We
that.
only have one more payment left then?
June 2022 is, so
One's
there's,
covered though. One's covered, so we really only got one.
correct. So there's two, just to clarify, there's, as of today, July 2021, there's two payments remaining on the outstanding bonds, roughly $240,000 each. The final payment in 2023 is covered by the reserve fund. We have the debt service reserve fund has $240,000 in it. It's cash, it's a separate account, hasn't been touched in years since the bonds were initially issued. So in 10 months, we'll make the last payment that'll really charge the general fund.
And Todd, what I'd ask you to look into is the possibility in 10 months, when we make the second to last payment, to use the reserve fund to make the last payment, and we'll save a year's worth of interest if we do.
Yeah, yep.
So
We can certainly do that.
we could pay it off
Yep.
next year and save a year's worth of interest.
It's a few
going
thousand
forward.
bucks. Yep,
We'll take it.
yep. I think that's all we had.
Just a quick question. You said the capital fund has a healthy balance. Do you have like a roundabout number of what that is?
Roundabout estimate, $1 million is in the debt service fund, and that's after the payment of the truck. And we also received the $250,000 from the state either in June or July.
So
I don't remember when.
that includes some dedicated from the state money, is that right?
Yes, so it does include those funds, and it includes, we still have cash that we've had received in prior years from the parish that we had not spent. So it's not a ton, but
And those are dedicated?
those are unspent funds as of today.
They're dedicated or?
Yes,
Yeah.
dedicated.
How
Yeah.
much do you estimate we have in undedicated funds as,
Let me calculate that, and I can send it to this group.
thank you.
Yeah, yeah,
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
thank you.
No, there's no more list. I want to hear that. Madam
So
Clerk?
with that being, oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Madam Clerk. Number 3, here we go.
She's trying to take over.
New business number 3, Planning and Zoning Commission nomination and appointment.
So Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to defer that to
Okay.
next meeting, please.
I also have a motion on the floor by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman
May I ask a
Asbill.
question before we defer it?
Mhm.
And I'm all for deferring it. We have traditionally, I think, appointed or recommended people in some sort of order. And I think, and this is a question, did I recommend the last appointment, which would have been Mr. Hoffman?
Yes.
Yes.
I believe so.
Okay. So previously, and I haven't spoken to Mr. Johnson yet, I really jumped the gun, and I told Mr. Johnson that I was going to recommend him. I'm going to call him and defer that because it's just not appropriate. I know he'd be a great person.
Okay.
If somebody wants to recommend him this time around, I'd be more than happy. But I got carried away by the fact that he volunteered.
Yeah.
Well, we can certainly take that up probably at the next meeting.
nice.
Yeah.
Okay, but I just,
Okay.
We need more than one.
Just
do we?
Just one. That's what I'm understanding is just one.
I think it's only one,
Yeah.
unless you know something we don't know.
All right, we got a motion to
All
defer.
right, so we got a motion on the floor by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Asbill to defer. We'll now open for public hearing. No one coming to speak forth. We'll now close public hearing. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
personal privilege?
We're deferred? No. All right, we have a motion, personal privilege by Councilman Asbill.
Since we're on the topic of planning and zoning, I just want to announce that this Saturday in City Council chambers from 8 to 12, there is a planning and zoning training seminar. It's going to be done by the city's planner, Mr. Villavasso, and he said it's open to the public. So if you're interested in learning about the process of planning and zoning, what they do, come on out to that 8 to 12. And if you're interested, and while you're there, while you're doing the training, if you're interested in volunteering, please let us know. We'll make sure we get your name down so we can start looking through some new candidates and maybe put new candidates in the pipeline for future vacancies. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Asbill. Madam Clerk, for business number 4.
New business number 4, call for a special meeting on Wednesday, September 8th at 6 p.m. and waive notice of meeting. And the agenda topic is 2021 budget discussion.
So previously stated at our June meeting, I would be calling for a special meeting just to go over the first half, now that the audit for 2020, the audit has been completed, and we're going to go with the first 6 months of this year's budget, just so we can be prepared if there's any overspending. So we have called for a special meeting. If everybody can waive notice, it'll be Wednesday, September 8th, 2021, and at 6 p.m. in the council chambers. Council chambers here. It'll be no action taken, just strictly discussing the current status of the 2021 budget.
And that date is what again, the 18th?
It's Wednesday, the 8th, September 8th. Does that work for everybody?
Sure.
Sure?
Yes.
Got it, got it.
6
got it,
o'clock?
Yes, 6 o'clock. Does
Yes.
that time work for everybody?
Yes.
Yes, 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 yes,
Add it to my
okay.
agenda, okay? All right, so we have, on the new business number 4, do we have to vote on this? Yeah, new business number 4, because we
Waive
waived a
notice.
notice, that's correct. On new business number 4, we will vote on waiving notice for the Wednesday, September 8th, 2021 budget hearing at 6 p.m. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays, and notice is waived. Thank you.
No, you don't. Go ahead. Number 5.
Madam Clerk, number 5.
All right, new business number 5, St. Rita Fall Festival Committee is requesting permission for the following, to sell beer and wine at the annual St. Rita Fall Festival Bingo on Friday, October 1st, from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m. Sell beer and wine at the annual St. Rita Fall Festival on Friday, November 12th, from 5 p.m. until 11 p.m., Saturday, November 13th, from 12 p.m. until 11 p.m., and Sunday, November 14th, from 12 p.m. until 9 p.m. Also to block Berg Street from Imperial Woods Drive to Ray-Ban Avenue during the festival hours, and block Ray-Ban Avenue on Saturday, November 13th, from 11 p.m. That should be 11 a.m. 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. to move the children from the school to Berg Street for their classroom performances.
Okay, well, anyone want to discuss the St. Rita Fall Fest, please come up. Public hearing is now open. Okay, no one coming forth. Public hearing is now closed. Just a couple of points real fast before we let the council speak on this. I did get to speak with one of the members of the St. Rita Dad's Club, and I know that we are looking at the bingo, so that's going to be real loosely held to where we're paying attention what's happening with COVID, so the bingo may not happen. They do want to have it on the agenda, though, just in case, you know, things do turn around for the better, because it is an incredible fundraiser to kick off that event. So just wanted to throw that note out there that there's a possibility that the bingo will not happen, which will be very dearly missed, because I love that bingo, even though Councilman Wheeler and Councilman Chatterley win everything.
Cakes are good. Cakes are good.
All right,
Move to approve Audrey.
Any other council discussion?
Give them everything.
All right, we have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill, second by Councilman Johnston to approve. All in favor?
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays.
All right, new business number 6, high content ABO application for Wet Bar and Grill located at 1827 Hickory Avenue, Suite D, for Christy Hollingsworth.
Okay, anyone to come speak on Wet Bar and Grill liquor license? No one coming forth. All public hearing is now closed. Council discussion?
Does this facility front on Hickory, or is it front on Dickory?
No,
It's the old Mango Club.
Ridge Cafe,
Hickory side.
the Ridge Cafe.
Oh, the Ridge Cafe?
with people moving stuff by the heads and tails, too. That's why I was
Yes, I
wondering-
seen that too.
I was wondering if maybe that's what it was.
Subway right
Yeah, by the Subway lolly shop and all that.
Okay.
Gotcha. Great, okay. I mean.
And all's been good, Chief?
Chief, everything
Everything's
good?
Move to approve, subject to that.
So I have a motion on the floor by Councilman Asbill to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by
Are we
Councilman
approving it
Johnson.
Subject?
Subject to.
Subject to, yep, subject to Chief's
Thank you.
approval. All in favor?
Yay.
Yeah.
Yay.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are approved, subject to Chief's final word. Okay.
Address the council.
Okay, anyone want to come forth and address the council? All right, no one coming to
Wait, I
speak
do
forth?
have an email that came.
All right, no one coming to speak forth. Do you want to close it, or just read the email first? All
This is address the
right,
council.
go read that email.
This is from Maurizio. What's that?
Did we advertise for email readings? Okay.
Yes, just read the email.
As long as you're good with it.
Let's do it.
This one's from Maurizio Francescon. Dear Mayor Bodier and council members, sorry I can't be there today, but I am visiting family in South Carolina and doing training this week and fly back Friday evening. I just wanted to give an update on a conversation that I, Jason Harris, and Mayor Bodier had about a month ago. Jason has been put in a great position to help the public affected by COVID-19. He has been contracted by a state agency to facilitate the distribution of funds of the CARES Act 2020 signed by President Trump and the then extended version of the CARES Act 2021 signed by President Biden. These funds help people and families pay their utility bills. Based on the program, Jason needed the TIN numbers for the various state utility companies so public money can pay the utility bills of those severely affected by COVID. It was a large list of companies and required calling many of these companies, which was a slow-going task. So I told Jason, let's call Mayor Bodier because he has better connection with Eric Skrmetta, because time is of an essence. Moratoriums will be ending soon and people will be out of electricity and water. Eric Skrmetta's office did follow up with Jason and provided a sizable amount of information to help Jason complete this very important task when it comes to handling the public's money. So I have to give credit to where credit is due. Thank you, Mayor Bodier and Eric Skrmetta's office in assisting our friends, neighbors, and family throughout the state of Louisiana during this difficult time. Regards, Maurizio.
Thank you, Maurizio. And Jason, what an incredible job and task that you have taken on. Thank you for having a kind heart and your willingness to want to help some of our less fortunate. Thank you.
Okay, Secretary's report for July. Total revenues, $474,149.
Woo-hoo. Yes. We have money to pay our bills.
We spending less than we brought in.
I saw that.
Okay, reports.
Reports.
Stats for the Hammond Police Department for the month of July 2021. Number of calls to service were 818. Total accidents were 12. Citations issued were 140 for 223 different violations. Patrol requests for 6. Narcotics arrests were 17. The charges were 21, which amounted to 7 felony, 4 misdemeanor, and 10 city charges. Other arrests were 70 for 120 different charges, 22 felony, 72 misdemeanor, 16 city, and 10 traffic arrests. Persons and property crimes. No murders. We had 1 rape. Subject is in custody. No 1 residential burglary. No non-residential burglary. No attempted burglary. 1 motor vehicle theft. 2 larceny thefts and 12 assaults. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, Chief St. Cyr is absent. Councilman Asbill?
Two things. I just want to report, I know it's getting a little bit ahead, but you'll notice that this month's total revenues is more than July's total expenditures. I know that's been an issue on Facebook with just one citizen, honestly, but just wanted to point it out to her. She's out there. I'll start over. This is awesome. I get to say it again.
Pick up the mic a little bit.
I just want to point out, it's getting a little bit ahead of myself, but just pointing out that this month's Secretary's report, which is total revenues, is more than July's total expenditures. There's just that one person out there that likes to point out every other month where it's, vice versa. And so I just wanted to make sure she was aware of that, and we miss having her here. Also, just wanted to also say regarding the fire department issue earlier, it's not trying to be hidden, so we're going to put it out there early. This sales tax, the council will be asked to put it on the ballot for March. They'll be asked to do that next month so that we're able to have an education campaign over 6 months to educate the public about what it would do and what it would cost them. And so if you're interested in that, please come next month, and we're going to ask the council to put it on the ballot for March. Happy Labor Day. Be safe.
Councilman Buddy?
No report.
Councilman Chatelain?
No report.
Councilman Johnston?
I just wanted to reiterate what happened earlier. If any citizen comes to me with a problem and they want me to bring something up as an ordinance or whatever, that's my job to do it. I don't necessarily always have to agree with it. I bring it up, let everybody discuss it, and we move on from there. So I just wanted to clarify that because I know it might look a little weird to some people that I bring up an ordinance and I vote against it. So that's all I just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Councilman Wheeler? I just want to wish everybody a happy Labor Day and just let everybody know I'm just so thankful to have the staff that I get to work with and to really have the passion and drive to want to move the city truly in a positive and a forward going and a looking forward even more than that direction. So I'm very fortunate. I'm very blessed. I'll take that from one of my previous predecessor mayors. I'm very blessed. And I just want to thank everyone in the city of Harahan. We can build a better city together. So, you know, it's not about me, it's about we. It's not about Tim, it's about team. And so let's work to build, let's just continue to make the city better every day. Thank you. And good night. Oh, we have a motion by second by Councilman. Oh, Lord, we're paying bills. Oh, Jesus.
Bills paid in July, total expenditures $336,228.94. No executive session.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilman Wheeler, second by Councilman Johnston to adjourn.
That works.
All in favor?
Yeah.
5 yeas, 0 nays. We are adjourned. Thank you.